And what a race it's going to be with the title points on the line the way they are, and 5 drivers starting ahead of them. Nico Rohrwasser and Philipp Siever on the front row. Kasper Kojus and Carlos Leon on the second row. From Kevin Ludi and Sten-Dorian Peremarghi. Thierry Delray and Michel Biviga with Christopher Shani and Joao Diaz. There's a strong Belgian fan base here. There's a strong Estonian fan base here, as both camps feel they have what it takes to take home the IAME X30 Euro Series title. The 32-year-old Belgian Thierry Delray from Heers for the Mach 1 racing team, and the Estonian for Euro karting, Sten-Dorian Peremarghi, going head-to-head for these 2 races, and it's going to be a very interesting title fight. Now, this is the only class of the weekend, of course, that will be a standing start. And obviously, we're going to get to see some very exciting race battles from them. As a result of it, Kevin Ludi and several others in this field have been struggling to get their starts right. Rohrwasser is one of the better drivers on the start, as is Philipp Siever, so the fact that they're on the front row of the grid could be a real problem for the likes of Peremarghi and Delray, as they are starting 6th and 7th and battling for the title. That is going to make for a very exciting opening lap, and certainly one of the most spectacular starts of the weekend. 6th and 7th from the starting grid, the 2 title rivals, and they will have to try and charge their way through. In terms of the actual title standings, there's only 8 points between them, but we'll have to figure out what happens over the course of the races to see how things are going to stand. So the X30 Super Shifter pre-final. There's Carlos Leon. He's starting on the second row of the starting grid. Here they come. They will line up on the grid and they will blast off the starting grid. 0 to 60 in the same time it takes a Bugatti Veyron to do so. But these guys are a couple of millimeters off the ground, and they've only got the insular chassis of the kart to protect them. No seat belts. These guys are proper warriors. Here they go, they're ready for action. Rohrwasser, Siever, Kojus, Leon, Ludi, Peremarghi, Delray, Biviga, Shani and Diaz. The lights come on, they'll extinguish quickly, and we'll be racing now! What a start from Siever and Leon! They have charged forward. Not a bad getaway from Kojus, but round the outside, Peremarghi's up to 4th already. Brilliant start. They jostle for position, and it's already a little bit of a great start, but Carlos Leon has leaped into the lead. Leon from Siever, Rohrwasser and Peremarghi. Where is Thierry Delray, the Belgian? I think he is tucked in there behind Peremarghi. So it is 4th and 5th for the 2 title contenders at the early stage of proceedings. Is up the inside. That is a move from Rohrwasser to get himself back in a 3rd position. He's now protecting the line from Peremarghi. Well, this could be very interesting. Thierry Delray has yet to finish lower than 2nd in a point-scoring race. Peremarghi's had 4 wins and a disappointing weekend at Wackersdorf. This could be a really exciting tussle. Delray getting onto the back of Peremarghi at the end of the first lap. Leon is your leader. Siever 2nd. Rohrwasser, Peremarghi and Delray from Kojus, Ludi, Biviga, Shani and Diaz. So they come through the top of the hill and side by side further back. That is Biviga on the inside of Kevin Ludi. So Biviga has gone into 7th position behind Kasper Kojus. There is Kojus as he tries to get onto the tail of Thierry Delray. Peremarghi's had a go at Rohrwasser and it's not worked. Delray's going to get up the inside. Delray and Peremarghi side by side at the hairpin. Peremarghi does not let the Belgian through. He's going to try again. He has to hang back. Goodness me, the title rivals are going for it. Hammer and tongs. Peremarghi versus Delray in this 15-lap encounter. They've got to do 18 kilometers, nearly 19 kilometers of racing by the end of this one. And what a scrap. Leon, Siever, Rohrwasser, Peremarghi, Delray, Kojus and Biviga in front of Kevin Ludi from Shani and Diaz. So Rohrwasser working his magic as he comes through there on the back of Philipp Siever. Peremarghi's trying to drop Delray. He doesn't want to think about the Belgian today. They come back up to the top of the straight. My goodness, this is getting close. Up to the braking zone. Whoa, this is tight at the front end of the field. Carlos Leon, the Spaniard, still leads from Philipp Siever. And in 2nd place, he is charging after the Spaniard now. Leon is working hard to protect the inside line. Rohrwasser's there in 3rd. 4th is Peremarghi. 5th is the Belgian Thierry Delray in front of Kasper Kojus. What a battle. Into the first corner. Rohrwasser snapping at the heels of Philipp Siever. Stendori and Pinemaghi charging forward, but still in 4th position for the moment. What a championship showdown this is turning out to be, and this is only the pre-final. This isn't even the final yet. Oh, Courjus goes into the back of Del Rey as they come off the turn. He's had to back out of the throttle. No intention for malice there at all, just one of those things. And so they go through in the top 6. Courjus is snapping at the heels of Del Rey. So here he comes again. They have a look into the hairpin. Leon, Rohrwasser now in front of Siva. Pinemaghi and Del Rey very close in from Courjus. So now we can look at the championship points as they continue through this race. I've got the points tallies in front of me as the championship progresses. At the moment, it is Del Rey who leads the points. Here comes Pinemaghi, dives to the inside of Siva. It's not going to happen. Siva defends beautifully. Del Rey's going to get there. So, as things currently stand in the points tally, if it stays like this, Del Rey will still be leading by 7 points going into the finale. But Carlos Leon is now in front of Rohrwasser. Here they come. Pinemaghi trying to break on the inside of Siva. Siva defending beautifully at this point. And still, the battle rages. But with this victory, Carlos Leon, if he hangs on to it in front of Rohrwasser, he would move up to 4th in the point standings ahead of Kevin Ludi. Here comes Rohrwasser. Rohrwasser wants another victory. It's been a long time since Valencia, and he wants to get it back. Here he goes. Up the inside. Sweet as a nut for Nico Rohrwasser. Beautiful move on Carlos Leon, and he takes the lead. 2nd place now. The Spaniard will have to fight back. Then it is Siva from Pinemaghi and Del Rey. But if it stays like this, Thierry Del Rey leads the championship going into the final race of the day later. 5 down, 10 to go. Here comes Pinemaghi. He knows he's got to fight for it. Siva's not letting him have it. And Del Rey's going to get up the inside. They're going to be dueling for position. They jostle and nudge wheels. Brilliant. Del Rey is through on Pinemaghi. Thierry Del Rey gets through. Oh, and that's contact further back. That's Biffiger. Biffiger's gone up on 2 wheels. And he ended up basically off the circuit at the hairpin. And that was 3 of them going into one corner together. Biffiger ended up spat out. And he is now off the circuit. So he's in a little bit of discomfort, but he is up and standing and moving the kart off the circuit, I can tell you that. So that is good news. But sadly, Biffiger is out of the race. Rohrwasser, Leon, Siva, Del Rey and Pinemaghi now. And Del Rey is pulling out the gap to 9 points if it stays like this. So Del Rey will take the advantage going into the final race of the season if it stays as it is. But there's still a long way to go. This is only lap 7 of 15. Thierry Del Rey still hanging on to 4th place in front of Stendori and Pinemaghi. This title showdown is going to be spectacular if it stays like this. So Biffiger out of the race, but the other 9 still going strong. Kevin Ludi having a horrible race in 8th position behind these guys. Oh, he's just made his move now on Chris Shani. So Ludi is up at the 7th. There's Michel Biffiger. You can see he's okay, but rather disappointed. Thierry Del Rey versus Stendori and Pinemaghi. The fight for 4th position. Rohrwasser out in the lead. Fastest lap of the race for the Swiss. 49.361. That's the lap to beat at the moment. He is fastest in the last sector, but the fastest of all in the 1st and 2nd sectors is actually Christopher Shani, the new boy in the Euro-karting machine. Del Rey has forgotten about Stendori and Pinemaghi. He's now going after the 612 of Siva. Now, if he gets through past him, that really will put one hand on the title. But there's a long, long way to go this weekend. There's still another 7 laps to go in this race. And then there's another longer race for the final later of 18 laps. So this battle is going to continue on between these two. The Belgian, Thierry Del Rey. The Estonian, Stendori and Pinemaghi. 4th and 5th on the track. 1st and 2nd in the points. Rohrwasser, 49.290. Another new fastest lap. Here comes Pinemaghi. Dives at the inside of Del Rey. He's not going to get through. The Belgian absolutely resilient there. Not going to let him come by at all. And now he's going to make his move on Siva. Beautiful pass from Del Rey. Siva's going to come back at him. They're going to rub wheels. And Del Rey's going to hold on to that inside line. And he's through into 3rd. Terrific from Thierry Del Rey. Fighting, feisty and fuming. Absolutely brilliant. Now off the final turn, Pinimaghi's lining up Siva. He's going to go over the inside line. He's going to commit, and he's through. So Pinimaghi through into 4th position. And this is going to give Korjus a run on Philip Siva now. And the Estonian for the X Racing team looks pretty feisty in 6th position behind these three. Del Rey 3rd, Pinimaghi 4th, Siva is 5th. But behind Siva is the other Estonian in the battle. That is Kasper Korjus for the X Racing team, the light blue machine. You can see him there. Kevin Ludi's now dropped Christopher Shani and is starting to close up. The title rivals battling for 3rd position. Del Rey and Pinimaghi behind Robassa and Leon. They look set for 1st and 2nd, but these two are going to squabble for the victory dais. If it stays like this, there is going to be 10 points between Del Rey and Pinimaghi. Pinimaghi's going to go for the inside. No, you don't. They nudge each other, and Pinimaghi puts his hand in the air to Del Rey. Now, is there going to be damage to Pinimaghi's nose fairing? The front fairing, that's going to be the big problem there, because there was a little nudge. Pinimaghi went for the inside. Del Rey turned in, obviously feeling I have the right to the corner. There was a little flick from the front fairing, but is that going to be enough to cause a penalty? I don't think so. So Pinimaghi should be able to go through into 3rd position without issue. But the Estonian needs to fight back in this race. He needs to win both races to seal the title for definite. But in 3rd position with 4 laps to go, he is not going to catch Robassa and Leon. Look at the gap he's got to make up. And Thierry Del Rey is gesturing to the officials on the start-finish straight. Did you see that? Did you see that? He signals. Well, both of them fighting for the title, of course. And so obviously tempers are going to be frayed. But if it stays like this, Del Rey will lead the points title by 7 points. So it's getting very heated between the two of them, as Pinimaghi makes a massive gain in terms of the points tally. But with 55 points available for the final later, there is definitely a lot at stake here. The drivers are going to push it. Meanwhile, out front, Robassa is driving an absolutely supreme race in the lead of this one. The Swiss performance has been absolutely stellar from Nico Robassa. Carlos Leon in 2nd, looking good. Pinimaghi for 3rd. Del Rey for 4th. That is Ludi up the inside of Korjus. Korjus is going to drift out wide. Ludi's going to get the inside line. He hops up over the curb, and Kevin Ludi is through past Kasper Korjus. So they are going to chase after Philip Siva with 2.5 laps to go in this pre-final. But what a race it is turning out to be. This is such an incredible tussle. And now with Pinimaghi into 3rd and Del Rey into 4th, that really makes the title fight just that more close. 7 points between Del Rey and Pinimaghi if it stays like this. So Robassa leading, Carlos Leon in 2nd, and they are pretty much locked in now. These two are battling away. The teammates, Philip Siva and Kevin Ludi, now in front of Kasper Korjus, and in behind Thierry Del Rey. Ludi's going to make the move on his teammate Siva. Lovely. That was a beautiful move. And Siva's going to try and get him straight back again. Oh, beautiful defense. And Korjus is going to come around the outside. He has to hang back. Terrific racing. Absolutely beautiful. Pinimaghi now sets the fastest lap. 49.255. He wants to get as far away from his opponent Thierry Del Rey as possible, just in case there is a front fairing penalty, because if there is, then he may be able to exacerbate some of the damage. He's there in 3rd position, but if he starts to pull away from the guys behind, he may only lose a place or two, which would still keep him in touch in the points tally. But despite that little rub, I don't think he's going to get a penalty for that. He should be all right. Robassa leads, Leon 2nd, Pinimaghi 3rd, Del Rey in 4th, then it is Ludi, Siva, Korjus and Shani as we go into the last lap. And this is it for Kasper Korjus. He wants to get on terms with Philip Siva. You keep an eye on the leader Robassa. I'll keep an eye out of the commentary box window and look at Korjus and Siva. They are still battling, still absolutely stalemate between those two. But Nico Rohrwasser has got himself into a fine position in the closing stages of this race. He's not pushed it too hard. He's not been over-eager. He's not been overzealous. He's just given himself plenty of time to get the job done. The championship rivals, they have battled amongst themselves. But Nico Rohrwasser has only been interested in one thing: victory out of the final chicane. And Nico Rohrwasser gets the win. And that's a big, big points tally for Rohrwasser. 34 points on the board for Rohrwasser, and that will put him on dropped scores, 4 points behind his teammate Siva in the title fight. And as they cross the line, if it stays like this, Del Rey is going to be 7 points ahead of Pitamagi going into the finale of the season. It's going to come down to the wire. Nico Rohrwasser gets the first victory of his season, and he actually becomes the first driver for Spirit Racing to win a pre-final or a final in 2018, and he'll be delighted with that. Absolutely terrific performance. Carlos Leon in second, his best result of the season. Pitamagi fights back to third in front of Thierry Del Rey. Then it will be Kevin Luddy and Philip Siva from Casper Corjus and Chris Shani. Joao Diaz ninth, and Michel Bifiga will sadly end up out of the race, as we already know. Interestingly, as he came past the finisher's post once again, Thierry Del Rey was waving to the officials, saying, "Did you see what happened?" So there could be a conversation about that with the championship going down to the wire. I don't think I saw anything more than two racing drivers giving nothing and taking no chances. That was a fantastic fight. For me, racing incident, no problem at all between those two. They were absolutely at the limit and pushing each other down to the wire. But we'll see what happens later. Absolutely amazing. I can't wait for the final if that is going to be the way the title is going to go down to the wire. So now we move from the X30 Super Shifter to the next pre-final, and it is going to be a tight one, as we know. Having seen the Super Shifter battle, now you're going to see the X30 Junior pre-final, and there's a good chance that the Saltire could be waving gloriously around the Italian circuit. Question: how does Hogmanay and Christmas come 4 months early? Well, if you're the Gilbert family and if you're Katie up in the north of Dalry of Scotland, it could be coming in about 3 hours' time. In the X30 Junior pre-final, we have got an amazing showdown. The points tally is going to be a close one between the 5 drivers who still mathematically could win the title, although realistically, the title fight is between just 2 men now as they go to battle. And that is Lewis Gilbert of Scotland and Sam Balota of Belgium. It is going to be a really exciting fight between these two, and neither of them are on the front row of the grid. In fact, neither of them are on the front 2 rows of the starting grid for the X30 Junior pre-final, which makes things even more tasty. But it is an all-British front row. It's Alex Lloyd of the Dan Holland Racing team on the inside line, having taken 3 smart heat victories yesterday. Alongside him on the grid with 2 wins and a second, Josh Rowledge. A great weekend so far for the Strawberry Racing driver. And it looks as though those 2 Brits will be battling their way to the finish line in this first heat. However, there are still 32 drivers behind them who could charge their way forward after an amazing run. Delano Van Toff is 3rd on the grid on the inside line of the 2nd row. Luca Bosco, circuit specialist, is there on the 4th row of the starting, 4th position of the starting grid, I should say, on the outside of the 2nd row. Then we have Mattia Ingolfo, the Italian, on 5th position, alongside the Dalry Diamond, who is leading the points, Lewis Gilbert for the KR Sport team. He will be there on the 3rd row of the grid on the outside. Italian star Francesco Polito is going to be on the 4th row, 7th position on the grid on the inside line from Maximus Meyer, the Spaniard, for the Fusion Motorsport team on 4th row of the grid. Sam Balota, the Belgian, he has a slight advantage over Lewis Gilbert. Okay, he is 3 places back on the grid, but crucially, he has the inside line. So Sam Balota could be a real threat in the early stages. The Englishman Zach Ripley for the Evolution team is in the top 10 after yet another stellar performance yesterday. Fast in practice, fast in qualifying, and ever impressive in the races. Good to see him in the top 10. Josh Radican, 11th place after a stellar second heat that saw him climb to 4th position. Radican will start 11th alongside the Spanish wonder, Marty Boyer, who lines up on the 6th row of the grid after a frustrating weekend at the office, but he will still finish high, and he, of course, is thinking about the next RGMMC promoted event in 4 weeks' time at Genk, where he could clinch the FIA Academy title. Then it is Rimo Kadapik, the Estonian, 7th row of the grid on the inside line, 13th position off the starting grid. Alongside him, it is the other Spaniard, Herbert Moir, for the FA Victory Squad. He is there 7th on the grid. Then it is Enzo Juliet on the 8th row of the grid on the inside, the man who won the final at Marienborg, of course, the Frenchman, all the way from Montpellier. Alongside him on the grid, 16th position, is the ever-impressive Alicia Barrett, who's getting faster and faster every weekend she comes out. Here come the X30 Juniors out onto the circuit for their formation laps. So let's talk through the grid in full. Alex Lloyd and Josh Rowledge on the